These days, it can be hard to trust the media. What's true, what's fake, and who is behind the message? I'm a freelance journalist and videographer who has spent years studying the media. Now I'm taking a look at what local, regional, and national news stories mean to us here in North Central Washington. I'm Dominick Bonny, and this is Common Sense. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Common Sense. Today, let's talk about education, why public education is essential to a healthy society, and learn about the Wenatchee School District's EP&O levy on the ballot that, if you are a Wenatchee voter, have by now received in the mail. My main guest for this episode is Wenatchee School District Superintendent Dr. Paul Gordon. And we sat down in his office last week to discuss the levy and why the 12% of the district's budget it accounts for is crucial to maintaining the high-quality education we have come to expect for our students. But first, I want to highlight what two of the founding fathers had to say about education. It was obviously important to all the founders, most of whom were themselves lifelong learners, heavily steeped in the classics, as well as students of the Enlightenment. Benjamin Franklin, one of my favorite founders, said, "A Bible and a newspaper in every house, a good school in every district, all studied and appreciated as they merit, and the principal support of virtue, morality, and civil liberty." It's interesting that he assigns equal weight to the Bible and the newspaper in the home and creates a tripod for a healthy society to rest on that includes being educated, being informed, and being moral. Noah Webster of Webster's Dictionary fame said, "Every child in America should be acquainted with his country. He should read books that furnish him with ideas that will be useful to him in life and practice. As soon as he opens his lips, he should rehearse the history of his own country." If you are a regular viewer of this show, you will know that I approach most of the topics I cover through the lens of history, usually American history. And I constantly reference what the founding fathers had to say about the issues I cover. This is why I think the lofty yet pragmatic ideals the founders had about education are a good place to start when considering how to vote on education issues, even local levies that account for 12% of our school district's operating budget. We'll return to the philosophical at the end of the show, but first I want to show you what this EP&O levy means to our school district and answer basic questions like, what exactly is an EP&O levy? Stay tuned after the break because my first guest, Superintendent Paul Gordon, will fill you in.
You love to help others. You need a solid career. You can have it all with help from Charter College. Our 10-month medical assistant program prepares you to work in healthcare settings like physician offices, rehab centers, and clinics. You'll learn to take patient vitals, assist with exams, administer injections, and maintain medical records. When you're ready to launch a rewarding healthcare career, visit chartercollege.edu because we work to get you to work.
Take on the new year in a new Ford from Pat Armstrong Ford. From premium grade muscle to unparalleled performance. Take on any payload. The all-new 2021 Ford F-150 at Pat Armstrong Ford. Take on any adventure. Take on every thrill. The all-new 2021 Bronco Sport and 2021 Mustang Mach-E. Built to take on every resolution at Pat Armstrong Ford. We are community strong in East Wenatchee.
While it may be hard to resist those big brown eyes and pleading face, many people aren't aware that people food can be dangerous to pets. And it's not just because of the added weight gain. Some foods are downright dangerous, including chocolate. For a detailed list of dangerous foods, go online to pawsandclawsvh.com. If you suspect your pet has eaten something dangerous, please call Dr. Shauna Baez and her staff at 888-PAWS, as your pet's health is important to us.
So what is an EP&O levy? It stands for an Educational Programs and Operations, and really what it does, it funds 12% of our overall budget, which is roughly $12 to $13 million that the levy funds, and it funds programs from AVID to athletics, music, other enrichment activities. It allows us to keep our class sizes lower. It supports our custodians, nurses, additional nurses. The state operates off of a prototypical funding model. So for example, the state funds 1 nurse for our 7,600 students. The levy supports us being able to hire 6 additional staff members. So that's really a great example of what the levy does. It helps us, the district, support our students with additional extracurricular activities and then support staff.
And things like nurses and custodians that clean our facilities are more important than ever right now as we're trying to bring students back into the classroom.
Dom, you're absolutely right. Just thinking about our custodians, what they have been doing from the day we shut down, of supporting our facilities, and then once we started bringing just our adults back and making sure that our buildings were safe for our staff to return. And we've now had our students back, our K-2 students back, since early November. And then following all those cleaning procedures, because we do an AM, PM, half our students come in the morning, half our students come in the afternoon, and our custodians are integral ensuring that it is a safe environment for that second group of students who come in, and then cleaning at night to make sure our AM students are there. So across the board, our technology is another thing the levy supports. Our techs in each of our buildings. We could not imagine outside of a pandemic doing this work without their skills, their knowledge that they bring to the table. But during the pandemic, when we've literally had to reimagine what education is and where students are connecting to us via our Chromebooks or our iPads, they have been just so instrumental in making sure that our families have the necessary technology to be able to connect. So yeah, across the board, the levy has been so important to supporting our students.
Well, we kind of covered. My next question was, what does it pay for, and what does it mean for our kids? But can you speak maybe to the increased cost to the district that the COVID pandemic has resulted in you guys' budget?
A lot of it is a lot of extra time by our staff. And those are the things that people don't see, the amount of time. Again, I'll go back to the technology support that is offered in our district. When we were first handing out the computers, I mean, we had lines that lasted into the evening over a period of 10 days where our techs were out there supporting our families. So it was making sure that they were paid for after hours, doing things very differently. But it's also for making sure that we're able to purchase the necessary technology. We were not a one-to-one technology. So the levy funds continue to support that because, again, education is going to be very different even when we get outside of this pandemic. We've learned a lot, and these will be opportunities for us to engage our students differently than ever before.
And Diana's here too, but you could probably speak to this. I remember a couple of years ago when the one-to-one was proposed, and there was a lot of pushback to that. But if that wouldn't have been implemented, not knowing ahead of time that COVID was coming, if that wouldn't have been implemented, you guys would have been probably not in a position to provide that tech to all those students.
No, not even close. I mean, we had to backfill about $1 million in technology, just in student laptops. So you're right. If the district did not have that foresight a few years ago, we would be talking $3 to $5 million that would have been needed to support students literally on day one, because there was not a whole lot of downtime. I mean, we had our first week where we kind of went to the packets. By about that third week, we were starting to do online learning and really, again, reimagining what this could be. So those are community dollars at work. And that's really what this is. It's an investment in our school district to make sure that our students have these incredible opportunities that are going to be available to our students even now. I mean, we're having athletics that will be starting again. So our coaches will be engaging our athletes, again, in a very safe environment. By mid-February, we should be seeing our first football game. Again, a little late, and probably a little colder, but we're going to be back out there engaging, and that, again, those are coaches and players, and making sure they have the right, all the PPE, all the support structures that are in place there as well. So those are dollars. Every time we're out, every time we're engaging with our kids, we're spending additional dollars to make sure everybody is safe.
So I want to also address, there's been some confusion about the turnout needed to make this levy vote count. Can you clarify that? There's been some stuff in the media here recently that said we need to reach 40% of the overall voters or the overall votes from our November 2020 general election, but that's not true.
No, and where that came from is right here. So I know the source of the misinformation, and it's Paul Gordon. The newbie in the area got a little confused on you had to have 40% of the previous general election, which would have been the last presidential election for us, but that was only for bonds and then excess levies. So being the newbie, I misunderstood that and pushed it forward on this. So we do not have a validation percentage that we need to meet. So what we do need to meet is 50% plus one, a simple majority, to ensure that this vote moves forward and allows our district to be able to have access to those funds.
But it's still also obviously very important that people vote. Are you guys worried about turnout? This being right on the heels?
Yeah, of all the things I could have gotten wrong, I'm good here, because the only thing we really were doing is encouraging people to do their civic duty. So I'm okay there, but yeah, we really want people to go out and take a few minutes. It arrived at my house yesterday. There's only one question on the ballot, and it's this question. It took my wife and I less than 15 seconds to fill it out, and we walked her right down to the mailbox and got it out. In the state of Washington, they make it as easy as possible to be able to engage in one of the most important duties we do, and that's participating in the voting process.
So this is something that I hear from time to time, because I've worked on bonds before and levies, and a big supporter of education, obviously. What would you say to folks who, even if they don't have kids in the district, why support a bond or a levy, an EP&O levy like this?
Yeah, that is a great question. And one of the things that we've learned through this pandemic, one of the few silver linings through the pandemic, has been the community's understanding of how important a school district is to the community. It really is part of that fabric of our community, because we become partners in trying to solve big problems. We can't do everything by ourselves, but when we partner together, we really create even greater value. Earlier, Diana was talking about our work with hotspots and making sure our community had that. But our district was also reaching out in partnering with the Link, partnering with Wenatchee Valley Community College, partnering with the PUD, partnering with GWADA, and others, all of our cable and internet companies, to try to bring down the price of internet costs to our families, so many of our community members could have that access. So to answer your question more specifically, we think what we do and what we offer our students is a great return on investment, because we know when you have a great school district, that increases home value. Let's just be real honest about that. When you have a place where people want to move to, and it has a thriving school district, that only benefits our homeowners and our business owners. So this is a true partnership, that we're all in this together. And I always believe, I don't have kids this age, but it's really about also paying it forward and making sure the next generation of students have these incredible opportunities. The levy also funds programs like AVID that supports that first generation college student to be able to make sure that they're ready to be able to go out into the world and really thrive. This program offers, or levies provide for HiCap, which is for our students who are achieving above grade level and really pushing them to their furthest extent possible. This program, as I said earlier, impacts our music program, our mariachi program. which is such a value add in our community and such an important aspect of our community and reflects our community. So that's what this levy does. It highlights the things that this district and our community value.
Yeah, well, and for a lot of people, dollars are tighter than ever these days. So can you speak to the fact that this is a renewal, not a additional tax?
Yeah. So what our community is currently paying for the levy is exactly what we're asking to continue. We're not asking for more. We're just asking for the renewal and the continuation. So this would not be an additional tax on top of what you're already paying. This would be if you had a property that was valued at roughly $400,000, it would be about $840 a year to support our students in our community for many of the programs I've discussed.
Can you tell me a little bit about the economic impact that the Wenatchee School District has on our regional economy? I mean, you are a big employer, and you inject a lot of money into our regional economy.
Yeah, again, that's just the reality. I believe we're the third largest employer in Chelan County. So when you think about that, when you're removing $12 to $15 million from a budget, that's not paper clips and pencils. Those are people. And those people add to our economy. When we have high employment, that means we're going down to McLinn's, we're buying lunch and dinner, we're out at the stores, we're engaging in our community. But when we have to have reductions, that hits our economy, which is already devastated. And I recognize that. I do recognize. Do I wish this levy were running outside of a pandemic? Absolutely. But I still think the value of what we bring and that we've demonstrated over these 10 months that we've been inside this pandemic shows true value and true commitment, and that we've been good stewards of those dollars. Prior to me getting here, our district had the foresight to, again, start making different cuts. They reduced $4.5 million from their budget, recognizing that there was some economic challenges. But they took the right steps, the needed steps, to make those reductions. We feel like we are really good stewards of our taxpayers' dollars. Yeah. One of the really key groups that have been so important in this has been our Board of Education. They've stepped forward by giving voice and videos about our levy and about how it impacts our students in our community, to participating with me and Diana Haglin as we've been on our tour of talking to our community, our teachers about the levy, and board members have been in those conversations. Actually today I had a couple principals reach out to me and let me know how impactful having the board members in those meetings have been to their staff. Our staff are reaching out and saying, it was really nice to see the support that the board has for this levy, and that was key. The board voted unanimously to put this levy on the ballot. But our staff are recognizing that our board has stepped up and have been leaders in this field.
Is there anything that we didn't, or that you want to talk about that we didn't really cover here? That's usually my last question. There's
a little bit of a misunderstanding in some of our community. We do have our students back in our schools. I just received a letter yesterday from a community member, frustrated that we have no students back. And I recognize if you're not paying attention to the school conversation, you may have missed that. But we've had K2 students back since early November. We've had third graders back before the winter break. We've brought our fourth and fifth graders back. And next week, we'll have our middle and high school students back. Our staff have just worked tremendously hard to make sure that our environments are safe, but that our students are being educated to the highest level possible. We've been reaching out to our parents and our community members, even when it was in the worst part of the pandemic, and really trying to make connections. An example of that are our school resource officers, the Wenatchee police officers that are part of our school district. They reimagined how they were doing their work. They were helping us reach out to our parents and our students and trying to bring our students back in. It really has been an all-out effort to educate, to feed our community, to make sure that our community is connected, to make sure that we're partnering with anybody and everybody within our community to do right by our kids. So yeah, we're open, we're engaged our students, and we continue to want to move forward in this valley as the leader in the educational field.
So remind me when ballots need to be returned and where people can get more information about this levy.
Yeah, the ballots right now should be in your mailbox, and the last day is February 9th. So please, read it over, understand what the levy is about, and then make your decision. I can't tell anybody to vote yes or vote no, but what we can do is provide factual information, and that's what I'm doing here today.
So there you have it, just about everything you need to know about the EP&O levy that is on your ballot if you are in the Wenatchee School District. I do also want to mention that I have done freelance work for the Wenatchee School District in the past and have produced a round of informational videos for this levy as well. My interview with Dr. Gordon was only for this episode, and those videos that I did produce were all informational. None tell you how to vote, but in full disclosure, I wanted to let you, my viewers, know that I have done commercial work for the district in the past and hope to do more in the future. But that is not the reason that I chose to focus on the levy for this episode. I chose to focus on the levy because it's important to our community, it's timely, and it's newsworthy. And actually, I want to highlight one of those informational videos next because it's an interview with a music teacher named Amy Kirker at Washington Elementary, and she eloquently speaks to why music instruction is such an important part of education. Let's take a look.
So my name is Amy Kirker, and I teach at Washington Elementary School, and I teach music. And during normal times, I have about 200 or more students come in and out of my classroom every day. And if you were to pop in, it might kind of look on the surface like a party sometimes. We have a lot of fun in here. We do singing, dancing, play games, we play instruments, but below the surface of all of that fun stuff, we actually do a lot of work. And the kids don't even know that it's work sometimes because hopefully they're having so much fun. But if you were to see us playing a game, for instance, they might be working on learning how to sing a new pattern, or they might be learning how to move by passing something to the beat. And we take all of those concepts that we're working on through games and we move them closer to being able to read and actually write the music notation. We have about 20 music teachers that teach all the music from kindergarten through 12th grade, and that covers general music and things like orchestra and band and choir and mariachi and marching band and lots of things for the kids to do all the way up through high school. There is so much anecdotal and research-based evidence that music education helps students do better in school and in life, and that's really important. But to me, beside all of that, it's important to my students because of the joyfulness that I see when they come to music class every day. And I think even more than in maybe any place else in the school, when they come to music, you can see the joy on their faces, whether it's playing an instrument, trying to get something on that instrument that they've been working on and finally getting it, or doing a folk dance with their friends, or singing a song that they really enjoy. They have a lot of joy when they come to music, and music is great, not just for joyfulness, but lots of other emotions that music can bring up. And it's good and it's important for the emotional development of our students as they go up from elementary school through high school. The Levy dollars are huge for the music program here at Wenatchee School District. The Levy dollars fund all of the music specialists in the district, and they fund all the musical instruments that the students get to play, the purchase of the musical instruments and the repair of the musical instruments. It also goes into the mariachi and jazz festivals that we put on every year for our students. And it purchases music curriculum for our students, as well as professional development and technology for the music program. If the levy passes, it does not mean an increase in taxes. It just means a continuation of the commitment that the community has made to funding these programs for our students.
When you call Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, you get 35 years of experience and customer service in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's friendly staff strongly believe in repairing before replacing and service all major brands of HVAC units. Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning is your local, independent, trained comfort specialists, proudly serving all of North Central Washington. Call 884-6444 today.
Mary Maids of Wenatchee has been professionally cleaning and sanitizing homes and businesses in North Central Washington since 1998. Mary Maids uses commercial-grade cleaners and viricides. Mary Maids has implemented additional safety and sanitation protocols. They are strictly following CDC guidelines for the safety of their clients and employees. For expert help with cleaning and sanitizing your home or business, call or look up Mary Maids of Wenatchee to schedule your free estimate today.
Are you ready to freshen up your home? Boswell's expansive two-story showroom is filled with high-quality furniture that's always discounted to give you their best price every day. Boswell's is receiving new furniture deliveries each week, so you'll be sure to find just what you need for your home without the wait. Complimentary design assistance and free local delivery. Superior customer service and the best value for your money. Start at Boswell's on Easy Street. It's closer than you think.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
I will leave the decision of whether or not to vote yes on this EP&O levy up to you. It's your vote and your choice. My goal for this episode is to inform you what the levy is, why it's important, and why I support it. Now for my final point, I could highlight the fact that even if you don't have kids in the Wenatchee School District, you as a homeowner still benefit from good schools because it makes your home more valuable. Or I could recite some philosophical point about the importance of equality and quality education made by one of the founders. But instead, I will leave you with this quote from author John Green, which really sums up my view on education. He famously said, "Public education does not exist for the benefit of the students or the benefit of their parents. It exists for the benefit of the social order." We have discovered as a species that it is useful to have an educated population. You do not need to be a student or have a child who is a student to benefit from public education. Every second of every day of your life, you benefit from public education. So let me explain why I like to pay taxes for schools, even though I don't personally have a kid in school. It's because I don't like living in a country with a bunch of stupid people. I couldn't have said it better myself. Join me next time for Common Sense.
Hey everyone, Fletcher and Amy Ellingson here from Live It Up. Join us every week as we answer your questions on health, wealth, and relationships.
We're all about you creating a life that you love, so tune in to Live It Up.